This is my second video of my Know My Life in Short Increments blah 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 videos. I think last time I left off, I kind of jumped around. I'm not very good at like going in a straight line and then just, not doing it. Um, I mean, not bouncing around. See, I'm doing it now. But I think I left off Sam, you know, uh, I left off when I was young and then I, did that zigzag thing. I can't hold still. um, I think, let's see. I covered basically, to catch up is that um, I grew up without my father in my life, which I think, at least around now, most of us did. Um, we didn't have much money. I bounced around a lot from home to home. We didn't really have a permanent place until about third grade, which is actually is pretty young, but most people it goes longer, or forever. But for me, it ended sort of at about third grade, and Habitat for Humanity actually built me and my family a house, and we stayed there for about 15 years. We still own it. I don't live there anymore, but my mother still lives in it. Um, but yeah, that was a big turning point in my life because I stopped bouncing around again until I was a teenager, and I got to stay in my same school though, and I went all the way until fifth grade in there, and that um, my mom actually let me stay in that school because I was too scared to start in a new school. I was very, very babied and protected as a child. Actually, it's quite sad. There was a very thick protective barrier, I think, around me in particular. Um, that like my mom was one of those that if anybody even asked me a question, she'd answer it for me. And even I noticed that as an adult that when I'm with my mother, well, it was like that until I noticed that a year or two ago that somebody would ask me a question and I'd wait for her to answer. And then when I realized this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's time to be a grown up. But yeah, that's how bad it was. Um, it was two extremes. Like, that's just the way it was. But, and I think then finally, um, I don't know. I was a pretty good kid, actually. I was a very good kid. I was very quiet. I was very good manners, all that kind of stuff. I was very, uh, I don't know, what's the right word for it? I don't want to say subservient. It kind of does get to that point, basically. I was a model child. And I know those things don't go hand in hand, but I could actually go further into details on that, but I can't make these videos too long. That's why they have to be short increments. But yeah, so I don't know. I was a very nice kid. I was very, you know, perfect. I think it wasn't until about seventh grade, I think that all of a sudden I just kind of changed for some reason. Um, it started there. I became very closed, very angry child. I did not ever want to go to school. I didn't want to do anything. Um, I started skipping a lot in seventh grade. Um, I don't know. In let's see, in sixth grade actually is when I know I'm jumping back and forth. I can't pay attention. There's a lot of things going on in this room that you can't see. Well, not really, but there's a lot of sounds. But in sixth grade, my mother actually kicked me out for the first time, and she sent me to go live with my father, whom I had just re-met, um, like 2 years before. And honestly, I loved my father and all that, but how much time had I really spent with the guy? And she sent me to go live with him, and I lived there for about 3 months, and things got much, much better. I was an A's and B's student. They weren't perfect, but they were better. And then As soon as school was over, my mom snatched me back. And I think at that point I started to get kind of angry. And I basically changed completely. The issue, sorry, the issue with that, of course, is you can't really blame anybody for that, especially when I was like 11 or 12. But anyway, coming back. um, so yeah, about seventh grade, everything's changed, and then by eighth grade, I wasn't even going to school half the time anymore. I was trying actually to act a lot tougher than I was. Basically, kids started to think that I was a totally different type of person than I was. Um, there were rumors that I would beat them up or start fights or whatever, which was silly because at that point in my life, I had probably never really hit anybody or anything and never would at that point. But yeah, I was very soft on the inside still, very, very much. The world was a very scary place to me when I could see that around me, but on the inside I wasn't there. Um, so sometimes you'd be kind of afraid that, somebody's going to try you, and if they try you, that you are not going to win, definitely. So I think I started to toughen myself up because of me seeing other people acting that way. So I did start becoming colder and harder on the inside. Um, and then I could portray it more and more, I think. And by ninth grade, I was actually put into a class where I wasn't allowed to see other kids or step outside that room without like accompaniment. And that's where I spent my days all day through middle school, which I actually loved. I know that doesn't make sense, but there were 11 other kids in that class, I think, throughout the year, and we became like family. Very tight knit, very, very respectful of each other, very, uh, very close. And this actually taught me something that I'd never really had before, which was unity and respect and just all these type of things. And um, it's it changed me right there. Or for one, I was around kids that treated me respectfully, and so I treated them that way. And then also vice versa, though, I was around kids who were in there for a lot of the same reasons that I was. So it actually taught me things like how to act tougher, even more so. So on that respect, it was not so good. On the other respect, I made some lifelong friends that even though I never ever talked to them really, they're still very dear to me. And, I'd still drop anything and do anything for them. Definitely still. That loyalty is definitely still there. But yeah, that was a changing point for me, and a positive and a negative. Um, but that's what it was, because when I went to school, I loved it there. It was perfect. I was happy, and I didn't want to go home. It's not that home was so terrible, but uh, it just a family life wasn't at the place where I wanted it to be. So they became more my family than my family did. That year, my mom also remarried, and he was a very nice guy, but there was fighting a lot in the home and discontentment. I'd never, except for that 3 months with my father, I had never lived with a man before. I'd never been around a man that much in my entire life, ever. It was very strange. It was an experience for sure. But that I think that right there is where I learned my loyalty is that year, and I carry that lesson with me still today. Loyalty to me is a very big thing. Loyalty is respect, um, and I think people today, they don't really understand loyalty. they don't really understand how to carry out loyalty. They don't know how to show loyalty. They don't know how to receive it. And this is sad to me because, you know, loyalty is the number one thing that everybody should learn and everybody should give. Without that respect, you are not loyal. You're not a loyal person. I hope everybody learns that, you know, loyalty is something that I feel that you have to learn the hard way. You have to have lessons good, you have to have lessons bad, or else you won't get it all. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video soonish because it's getting long and they don't upload. So we didn't get very far, but you know, I mean, I'm just trying to show small bits of what has made me who I am today because quite honestly, I skip over a lot and then I realized halfway through I was like, shit. I try to teach by example, and you know, I realized that if I don't tell anybody who I was, if I don't tell anybody who I really am, then what example do I really show besides just empty words? You know, my words are not empty. I've gone through things. I've felt things, you know, things have pushed me down. I've been down on my knees more times than anybody would believe. So, you know, this kind of hurt is something that I think you have to feel, though, or else, you know, without the hurt, then it really is, your words are empty. You can't tell people, you know, you can't help people, you can't do anything if you haven't been there too. And trust me, I've been there, I've been around, I've been kicked down, you know, I've bled, I've done it all. You know, I've bled from my heart, I've bled from spirit, I've bled everywhere. And you know, so I'm gonna use that and I'm gonna propel myself forward. I'm gonna propel anybody who will listen forward, and I'll just drag people with me if I have to do that. I hope I don't, though, because if I do, that means somebody's real stupid. Yeah, that's how I feel. But yeah, so I'm also gonna mention again, I'm working on a new project for stuff. I'm sorry, I just got really distracted. As I said, things are going on in this room. Uh, anyway, so I'm gonna make more videos about that later. There's a couple of them going on. This one in particular is for the Pine Ridge Reservation. It's very close to me and it is important to me, and I hope and pray that people will support me supporting them, and donations, please, 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 donations, or just word of mouth even. You know, if you hear that anybody wants to help out with something, if they're looking for something to help out with this Christmas or just whatever to make themselves feel good about themselves or whatever, you know, tell them about this project that's going on right now. We need coats, we need hats, we need socks, we need gloves, any kind of winter stuff that would be good, because you know people are out there in below 40-degree weather, sleeping in cars with no windows. So you know every little bit helps. Also, what was the other thing? I don't remember. I don't remember. Whatever. It must not be important. Whatever, I'm gonna just, yeah. Anyway, if you liked it, let it be known. If you have something to say, comment below. If you want people to hear it, share it, and, you know, have a good day. Have a good day. Night, whatever, you guys. I can't say whatever enough today. You all know how tired I am? This is how tired I am. I'm that tired. So well, I'm not gonna go to sleep, let's be honest. But I'm gonna leave you. So goodbye. Have a good night.